Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex P. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by Boston Hemp Inc., Wednesday, April 17th. Ian Cameron, and it is great to catch up once again with a man that you'll remember back last summer during the offseason. We did our first ever Ice Guys Players Suite interview series, interviewing various current and former hockey players during the offseason. And one of those people we interviewed was this guy right here. And it's good to have him back. It's been too long. Nicholas Nevalainen, our Finnish friend of the show. Playing right now over in England in the EIHL, where the semifinals are right around the corner. The Sheffield Steelers, his team, still very much alive for a championship. Nicholas, it's good to have you back on the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm all good. It's sunny day here in Sheffield, so nothing to complain.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing to complain about because sunshine doesn't happen every fucking day over in England. But good stuff there. Are you getting a lot of fish and chips in your system over there when you play there throughout the year?
That's a good one. No, I don't really. I have had it probably once or twice in my 2 years, so not. I like it. I like it. Like it's not bad, but it's not something I have every week. So.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's a good one though.
There you go. Well, that's one of the famous dishes, famous dinner items, of course, over in England. Wolf blimey, and that's my little English accent there. Good stuff indeed. But good stuff about about your team. We're going to actually talk first about your team a little bit. How's the season been? Obviously, you've talked about now. Apparently, they do in the EIHL Hockey League very much what you see in the English soccer leagues. There's like this in the Premier League. I'll throw it out there. There's the Premier League Championship. There's the FA Cup. There's all these friggin' little miniature trophies and championships that you can win. And I can't keep it straight. I can't figure out, it's hard to keep track of everything. So you're telling me you've won some stuff already this year, but this is, I guess, the end of the season championship that you're going for right now as your team gets to the semifinals this weekend.
Yeah, so in UK it's kind of different setup to compare to every other league. I think it's probably something to do with the football or soccer, obviously. And so for hockey in UK, the winning the league, winning the regular season is the main thing to do. That's the highest prize for that, and the highest thing you can win. And even I think after that we have this Challenge Cup, which is the equal of the FA Cup in soccer. So I think the Challenge Cup comes in second place as you rank those trophies, and the playoffs are third highest. So basically you could say the least important trophy to win. It's still trophy, so you want to win it, but basically to win the playoffs, you only have to win 4 games. So it's winning the Challenge Cup, you have to win 12 to 13 games pretty much. So it's a grind, and obviously winning the league, it's 54 games. So it's a long playoffs for that wise. So we won the 2 main trophies already, and now just got our eyes for the third one next weekend.
There you go. Now, are these all 3 trophies? Like, if you win this, is this like the sweep of all the trophies, or did another team get one of them?
No, it would be the sweep. So it's
Wow.
It's the Grand Slam, and it hasn't happened that often. But actually, last year Belfast Giants were able to get the triple last year. They won all 3 trophies last year. They had a really good team last year, and just couldn't catch them last year. But this year, I think we have had the best team by far in the league, and it really showed. I think we just look it up with my other buddy the other day that we won 45 games out of the 54 in a regular season, and
Wow.
Yeah,
45-9. Any team will take that record. Wow. That's some
I think we,
demolition right there.
I think at the start of the season we went like 18-0 in away games, so we didn't last until the 19th game from the home. So it's been a good year, good team, really good bunch of good players, good coaching, and just everything work out fine. But obviously now the playoffs, it's 2 more games to win third trophy, but it's only a single game, and we both know that in a single game of hockey, you never know what's gonna happen. So let's see how that's gonna go.
And that's the main difference, obviously, with what you're going through right now with the Elite Ice Hockey League in the UK and the Stanley Cup playoffs, obviously, that we're about to see in the NHL. Best of 7 series throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs. This is single elimination. So if you don't have it that day and the other team has their A game, you're in some fucking trouble. And you might be going home.
Exactly. That's what I say. It only what it needs. It needs the referees make a few bad calls, the other team scores few in a PP, you suddenly down 2-0, your goalie give up the easy one, you're just not onto the game. You down 2-0 and you found that you only got 40 minutes time to figure out and work your way up from the hole you already made, so you get no tomorrow in that case.
No doubt. Well, Nicholas, we wish you well this weekend with Sheffield, and we hope you bring home the ship. Bring home that championship, get that trophy, complete the old trifecta, if you will. Speaking of completing trifectas, as we get into the recap of last night in the NHL, let's revel in some victories that you had with, you were telling me before the show started, the parlay that you took last night. Tell us about it. 4-teamer. Usually when I hear these stories from someone I'm talking to about a parlay bet, man, it's usually ending in sadness and just, oh, man, that one team screwed it up for me. That one team fucked it up for me, and I lost the whole parlay. But for you, you did not have to deal with that kind of unfortunate circumstance. You cashed the thing. Tell us about it.
Well, obviously 4K parlay, it's not smart betting, I would call, but last night I just thought I would try it out.
It's smart when it wins. That's the rule.
Obviously. But normally I like to go to single or double, but last night I just felt that there was few games that probably gonna go in our way, and obviously I like Florida. I would like to think that in the summer when I was in the show, I told that Florida is gonna be the good team this year, but I might be wrong. But I think they have been really strong. It's just a really deep team, so I thought they're gonna take care. Obviously, all these bets were in money line. So I had Florida over Maple Leafs. I had Golden Knights over Chicago. I had Vancouver over Calgary, and then the last one was actually the tightest one. So Winnipeg over Kraken. So obviously I took the favorites, but it's still money that comes home. So.
You know what's crazy about this time of year, Nicholas, is that this is the time of year favorites are usually vulnerable because it's the last 3 days of the season, last week of the season, and you've got the teams that have clinched everything and don't have a lot to play for. They might be resting players. The motivation is just not as high. But you were basically dodging a bunch of minefields last night with that parlay. But you picked a good four, though. Vancouver still had something to play for. Winnipeg still had something to play for. Florida, once Boston was trailing to Ottawa, Florida turned it on against Toronto, knowing they could win the division, the Atlantic Division. And then the other one you picked was
Golden Knights over Chicago.
Yeah, and it's just Chicago's not very good.
That's what I say. Like, I had 3 teams that actually had something to play for, who wanted to win the games, and then obviously the last one was somebody playing against Chicago, which you just never bet Chicago. So.
And it's funny, Alex will be here in a moment. He's a Chicago Blackhawks fan, so I'm glad you said that before he joined us here.
That's good, because I did watch the whole game of Minnesota Wild and Chicago in last week.
Yeah. To
be fair, not the finest hockey games I have seen.
No, but it was a fine game for Jesper Wallstedt, the young Swedish goaltender from Minnesota. He looked good, and he got a shutout, I remember, in that one.
He was really good. And I think Minnesota was obviously much better team in that game, but even then it was pretty tight until the second period, until obviously Kirill Kaprizov just came through as a clutch, had 3 points on that game. Just obviously their superstar and the best player on that team. Boy, I like to think that he's easily the top 10 player in the whole league. So
he just needs some help. Well, Zuccarello's good, and Erikssonek is good. There's no question. But need a little more help beyond those three. That's what Minnesota is going to have to work toward. And
actually, just the one guy actually highlight from that game, and I think overall Matt Boldy.
Yes,
great guy. I think he's gonna be one of the best players in the whole league in next give it 3-4 years when he gets older. It's just I like a lot the way he plays. So
great release, great shot. You're right. He's a little streaky, but he's still been terrific for the most part here in the 2 years. Now in the playoffs, I know last year he didn't play well at all. So in the big games and in the playoffs, we'll have to see if he can step it up a bit. But there's no doubt. Terry Edelman, I hope he's watching. We're giving you some impromptu Minnesota Wild talk here. Where is he? He's not even in the chat, and he's missing out. He's a huge Wild fan, one of our good friends of the show.
Yeah, well, obviously, I played 4 years in St. Cloud State, which is in Minnesota. So I used to watch pretty much every Wednesday or Tuesday or Thursday. Fox Sport North showed the Wild home games, so it was actually kind of fun to watch those games. So I actually ended up in those 4 years. I did follow Minnesota quite tightly.
Yeah, exactly. You're in the state, you play there at St. Cloud College, and obviously all the games on television. Why not? You get a chance to watch the Wild every game because you're in that local market. Let's dive into last night. It was a crazy night in the NHL, especially with the Eastern Conference wild card race, where we had Detroit, Washington, and Philadelphia head-to-head, and all in action at the same time. There's really those two games: Detroit, Montreal, Washington, Philly. Washington getting the 2-1 victory against the Philadelphia Flyers in that game. And by the way, the betcast was awesome. Nicholas, we did a betcast last night.
Yep.
And we do a bunch of these throughout the season where it's just me, Alex, a bunch of our viewers and listeners. We've got some guests that join us every now and then. Eddie Lack has been on some of our betcasts in the past. And what it is we're just watching the games together, us as a community, us and our viewers and our listeners, our fans of the show, watching the games, live bets during the games, and we drink some beers. And it's like a bar and a pub atmosphere. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy it. It was another awesome betcast. And our community of fans, Nicholas, our viewers and listeners, there's no fucking bad seeds. There's no bad apples. There's nobody trying to insult someone or rip someone, or there's no anger or animosity. It's all, we get along. It's cordial. Everyone's in good mood, good spirits. It's a great environment, good people, legitimately really good people here that watch this show, and it's awesome. It was a blast, and it was another great betcast last night. A lot of fun.
That actually sounds pretty great. So so maybe I will join at some.
You're always invited, but I always, I never would bother asking during the season. I mean, you're busy with that. You're traveling and a lot of games. And you mentioned a shit ton of games you play, but we will. We'll get a Nicholas Neveline sighting on a betcast in the future at some point. It will happen.
Yeah, the only tough part is obviously the games. The games are pretty late for us to here in Europe. At least in the UK. You get those days that the games are like 8 p.m., 10 p.m. So you got a lot of those games, but in Finland it's even 2 hours more, so it kind of goes pretty late. So always pretty much have to apply and just watch the highlights in the mornings.
Yeah, no doubt, and that's the way it is. Oh, there he is, our Alex B. Smith with us. And this is Alex. Just had some. Was just running a little behind, had some technical difficulties. This isn't he's not trashed and stoned after last night's betcast. It's nothing to do with that. It's just some technical issues. That's all. Yeah. But he's fine and he's good to go. Alex, how are you?
Yeah, doing good. Nicholas, good seeing you. Yeah, running a little late, just having some technical issues back and forth. And we were on the betcast last night. And me and Sammy P stayed on. The separate stream. Actually went to a separate stream, and we were hanging out watching the basketball game last night as well, the Kings Warriors game. So that was a good time. Definitely a great time with the Betcast as always and stuff. And of course, obviously with the the crazy, was it about an hour, about 45 minutes, where just all the big games involving the wild card teams all coming down to the wire. That was just absolutely an electric moment.
It definitely was. There's no doubt. So Washington wins 2-1. Now simultaneously, Detroit's down 4-3 to Montreal in the other game. And so what happens is Philadelphia ends up pulling the goaltender in the 1-1 game. They have to avoid losing in regulation to keep their season alive. And just around the same time or a minute later, there's Detroit tying it with Montreal 4-4 in the dying seconds. It was absolutely crazy. David Perron, they did it again. 2 nights in a row, Detroit ties Montreal 4-4. We hit the draw. I could not believe the draw was plus 420. In a situation like that the Montreal-Detroit game draw was plus 420, when we just saw the draw hit the previous night in Detroit between those two teams, 5 straight in the series have gone to overtime. 4 straight Montreal-Detroit games now after last night individually have gone to overtime, that you could get plus 420 on that. I'm like, well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I took advantage of that for sure. The overs hit in that game as well, first period and full game over. Detroit gets the win, but unfortunately, it matters not as Washington gets the empty net goal, 1-1, and they win 2-1, and the Flyers season comes to an end. People saying, what's all this talk on there, by the way, Twitter, about Tortorella didn't realize what Detroit was doing at the same time. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I think they're making it too much of a deal that because of, he should have been aware. Someone should have told him that, wait a minute now, you doing this is really not going to matter because Detroit got a point against Montreal, that now you're already out. You don't have to pull the goalie here to try to avoid losing in regulation. He just made it easier for Washington to clinch. I mean, that you're talking about split seconds here, or just like maybe 30-second to a minute gap in real time with what happened there. So the people giving grief to Tortorella that he should have not have pulled the goalie because, wait a minute, Detroit had already gotten the point they needed to knock Philly out. I mean, come on, we're just talking about seconds here or a minute, to have to make that decision. I mean, so I don't like the criticism he's getting. If he is getting, because it seems like it's trying to make it sound like he's getting criticized for that. And for something where it's 30 seconds ago, Detroit ties the game. What? He's supposed to know 30 seconds later, 100%. He's supposed to know, wait, we're out already, so don't pull the goalie. Come on. It's ridiculous.
I mean,
it's a non-story to me.
You could have had a staffer watching that game, plugged in with one of the coaches and having that in one of the assistant coaches' ear, keeping abreast of what the score is in that game throughout the night. That's not a far-fetched thing to do at all, really.
Yeah, definitely. But at the end, look, it did make it easier for Washington to clinch because they needed to secure the win, and the empty net goal certainly helped that. They got the 2-1 win there in that game. One of my favorite spots of the night, it was my best bet on the show, Columbus. They opened at plus 215 against Carolina. And look, the writing was on the wall. It's Columbus's last home game. Jeff Rimmer, the longtime voice of the Blue Jackets on television, his final game, hanging up the microphone. And then on the Carolina side, no Aho, no Svechnikov, no Gensel, Jacob Slavin, their best defenseman. I mean, they were sitting half their team last night. They had locked up second place in the Metropolitan Division. They knew already they were going to play the Islanders in the first round. And it was just a great situational bet on Columbus last night with the first period and the full game. They still didn't make it easy, and I said that. Columbus is not a very good hockey team. It won't be easy, but they did cash the first period and the full game. The full game money line was my best bet on Columbus on the show yesterday. They get the job done 6-3. And how about the mention that I had on the show yesterday about the young kid there for the Columbus Blue Jackets, Del Beluz for the Columbus Blue Jackets, who was in his NHL debut last night, and he scored the very first goal of the game for the Columbus Blue Jackets. We're going to start calling him DBB, Del Bell Beluz, like BBD, Bell Biv DeVoe. That's what he's going to be known as now, DBB, moving forward. Because who wants to say Del Bell Beluz, over and over again? So DBB, is what we're going to start calling him now moving forward. But you could see Columbus, and if you're a Jackets fan, hold tight with this team. It's been a bad, several years. It's been a rough go. You're just begging to see some winning hockey. I get it, but hang tight with this group. They've got a great young talent, lots of young talent, lots of upper echelon blue chip talent in the pipeline. They do need to address their defense. They do need to address their goaltending, because I think Merzlikins needs to change the scenery. And I still haven't seen enough from Tarasov to totally believe in him as a legitimate number one goalie. So they do need to shore those two areas up. But I'm up front in the forward group. They've got so much young talent on the way through that pipeline. So hang with them. This is a team that I think in a few years they could be a pretty good hockey team when it's all said and done. No question about that. And then the other games last night, Florida 5-2. They clinched the Atlantic Division. They saw the opening after the first period when they were down 2-0 to Toronto, that Boston was losing to Ottawa. The door was open for Florida with a win to clinch the Atlantic Division. I think they want Tampa Bay, because they look like a team that once that Boston team was losing to Ottawa, we can win the division, boys. That's what they're saying in the first intermission, probably, when they were down to Toronto, and they came all the way back. They outshot Toronto 29-4 in the second period. 29-4. 29 shots on goal in one period for Florida to turn that game around. They get the 5-2 win. They win the division to set up the Battle of Florida. Panthers versus Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round. Get your popcorn ready, folks. That is going to be an outstanding first round series. Yes. I can't wait for that. No question. 4-3 Winnipeg. They clinch second in the Central, home ice against Colorado in the first round with their 4-3 win against Seattle. Vegas beats Chicago 3-1. And then Vancouver clinches the Pacific Division with a 4-1 win against the Calgary Flames. One more time, look, they didn't play as good in the second half of the season, Vancouver, but shout out to Rick Tocchet and the Vancouver Canucks for the regular season they had to turn this thing around and become division champions and be where they are heading into the playoffs. Just a remarkable turnaround for Vancouver. Nicholas, we'll get your thoughts on last night.
Well, I was going to say that, do you know who I actually think was the biggest winner of the last night games? I think actually ended up being Maple Leafs.
Really?
I think actually Maple Leafs end up being the biggest winner by avoiding Florida in the first round. I truly believe that
you think they have a better chance against Boston than Florida. That's your.
I think that Boston is a really good team, but I think Florida is just way better than Boston, and I just feel like giving that Maple Leafs, Boston Bruins kind of history and all that stuff, I think that's going to be a good series, and I really think that Maple Leafs have a way better chance to go through Boston than they would have had to go through Florida. So we just talked about that in the locker room the other day, yesterday before games. I was saying that I think that if Florida plays Maple Leafs, it's going to be 4-0 or 4-1. Now that they go and they play Boston, I think it's going to be a tight series. I think there's actually might be a chance that Maple Leafs might pull it through. I don't think Boston's team in the name wise it's that good this year. They have been playing really good hockey, but I think it might be vulnerable in that situation with the Maple Leafs firepower. So I think it's going to be a good series. Also, who doesn't want to see Florida to play Tampa Bay in the first round? That's going to be over 5.5 goals every game.
And Bruins and Leafs fans, by the way, great point. I like that. I respect that opinion. You're a hockey man. You've played the sport. And I don't think that's totally incorrect either. I think Toronto, Florida, to me, I've got Florida rated higher than Boston right now. So by default, I have to agree with you because I've been higher on Florida all year than Boston.
Yeah.
The only thing for the Leafs is the mental block. Like Boston's just over and over and over beating this team, regular season, playoffs. It hasn't mattered. That's a mental block that the Toronto Maple Leafs have to overcome in that series that show you can finally exercise the demons. You can finally slay the beast, slay the dragon. And this Boston Bruins team that has owned your ass over the last decade, that's what they're going to have to overcome, that mental hurdle of beating the Boston Bruins. Yeah.
Yeah, but at some point, the day has to come that they're
Yep.
gonna actually beat the Bruins, and I guess we will see next 2 weeks. It's gonna be this year, or are we gonna go again next year and say that maybe next year is our time?
And by the way, Bruins and Leafs fans, I laugh at both fan bases on Twitter X today. They're both accusing the other of trying to set it up so that they could play each other in the first round. The Leaf fan is accusing the Bruins of tanking to play Toronto. The Bruins fans are accusing the Leafs of trying to avoid Florida. Shut the fuck up, okay? Both of you. It's here now. It's Leafs versus Bruins in the first round. Just shut up and watch the series play out. Cheer for your team and watch it play out. I don't want to hear this nonsense anymore. Tanking for this. I want to play for that. No, enough of it. There's just it's like a bunch of women there squabbling, bobbity bop 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 there, back and forth, flapping their gums about shit that doesn't even matter, anymore. It's just hilarious to watch it. Alex, great betcast, great night overall of hockey. Thoughts on what we saw last night?
Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, Washington taking care of business, and like I said, they were the domino to knock everybody else out of that East wild card race. But like I said, without some drama for sure, especially with that Montreal-Toronto game. Like I said, that was just absolutely electric, back and forth, and to have that game tied up with 3.3 seconds left. To just see, and like I said, I'm no means am I a Red Wings fan, but to see that crowd be this hyped up last night, and then just knowing that, seeing that team just celebrating. The league is different when the Red Wings are a good team. They've been so bad for so long, and now that they're starting to be this team that's, in the middle of the road, they're still kind of growing and climbing, and it's good for the league. When you have original six teams playing well.
And this is a Blackhawks fan who hated the Red Wings growing up and probably still
hate
does.
the Red. I will always hate the Red Wings forever and ever. But the league is better when they're a good team. It's just plain and simple. You can't argue with that. Whenever any original six team is playing well, it makes things better for the league. So it was exciting to see that finish for those teams. Even in Philly, Philly was not even supposed to be hanging around to the last week of the season, trying to make the playoffs. None of us thought that at the beginning of October. So for the job that Tortorella did, getting everything he possibly could out of those guys all the way to the very end, just shows that, the kind of coaching job, the reason why he keeps getting hired to places year after year after year over the last 2 decades. That's why, because he's able to turn a middle of the road bottom feeder kind of a team into a playoff contender. And Pittsburgh, of course, making those moves, spending the money, getting all these old veterans, trying to make that one mad dash, and it just kind of fell apart at the end. But still, like I said, seeing Sidney Crosby playing at a MVP level at his still 36 years of age, seeing those other veteran guys grinding it out, Alex Nedeljkovic popping up out of nowhere to kind of carry this team the last month or so. It made for just some really exciting hockey. So those fan bases, I'm sure they're all feeling a little blue now today after the fact, but it made for some really good hockey over the last couple of weeks, and shout outs to them for like I said, these are the things we live for as hockey fans.
Yeah, no doubt. It was a fun, exciting night of hockey. There's no doubt. And now we've got the Eastern Conference playoff race figured out. Islanders versus Hurricanes, Capitals versus Rangers, Leafs versus Bruins, and the one I'm looking forward to the most, Panthers versus Lightning, Battle of Florida. I cannot fucking wait for that series. It's going to have everything. It's going to have animosity. It's going to have physicality. It's got the regional rivalry. It's going to be, hopefully it lives up to what the expectations are for that series going into it, because it does have the potential to be one heck of a great playoff series. All right, let's get to Wednesday. Now, these are games now as we're down to the last 2 days of the regular season where, you've got to, be careful. You've got to look at lineups. You've got to look at starting lineups, who's in, who's out, who's got motivation, who doesn't. That's what a lot of this boils down to when it comes to these final 2 days of the regular season. We will start with the first of 4 games on this Wednesday night. The Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay minus 145 home favorites here in this game. The total currently sitting at 6.5, shaded to the over in this one. These are, of course, 2 teams with really nothing as a team on the line. Tampa's locked into their spot. Toronto is locked into their spot as well. And, of course, the whole Eastern Conference is decided. But when you look at this game, there are individual accomplishments still needing to get done. Austin Matthews, 1 goal away from 70. Nikita Kucherov, 1 assist away from 100 assists this season for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So those are definitely individual achievements that those two guys are going to probably want to get done here tonight in game 82 for each of these respective teams, no question. And then when you look at the situation as far as the lineups go, John Cooper was very on, and that's what I love about Coop. There's often times where he just lays it all out on the table and he says, I may not even dress 20 guys tonight, he said, for this game, that he's looking at this being a game to really be careful, rest some players. We'll see about what that transpires to. Now, I don't see any major, absences as of now outside of Vasilevsky, who is obviously shut down. He's not going to start tonight. Why would he? This is basically a game just to finish out the string. But as of now, I have not seen any announcements of Point or Kucherov. Or Kucherov's definitely going to play because I think they're trying to get 100 assists for him. And I'll get to that from a player prop standpoint in just a moment. But when you look at it, I think as of right now, it's just a couple of defensemen out, Tyler Mott, and of course, Andrei Vasilevsky. This could change, but as of now, it looks like the main cogs up front are going to be in tonight for Tampa Bay. The main thing is that Matt Tompkins is going to be the starting goaltender tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning here in this game. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, you would expect, especially after losing to Florida, I think they're going to play Matthews for sure because they're trying to get 70 goals for him. But Marner, Nylander, Tavares, Riley, McCabe, Bertuzzi, I'm seeing all of these players in as of right now for the Leafs tonight. The only two that are out are the two that also did not play last night up front. Max Domi and Bobby McMahon are still out for the Leafs. So, as of right now, we have to assume that, these are two teams that are relatively full strength with just only a few exceptions as of right now. The obvious bets for me here are the over by Fecta. And I like that quite a bit because it looks like the Toronto Maple Leafs are going with Martin Jones tonight, shutting down Woll, shutting down Samsonov here for this final game, which again doesn't really mean a whole lot. So they did carry 3 goalies with them down the stretch, so they're going to give Martin Jones, who's probably not even going to be dressed for much of the playoffs because Woll and Samsonov are going to be the 2 goalies Toronto goes with, but they're going to give Martin Jones this start. Hasn't been confirmed yet, but most sites have him projected to be the starting goaltender. So I think it's just a loose atmosphere, not a lot of defense, not a lot of shot blocking. Who's breaking a fucking foot blocking a shot in this game with the playoffs right around the corner, right? Nobody risking that. Nicholas, you play the sport. Are you blocking a shot? Are you more willing to block a shot in game 82 with nothing on the line with the playoffs 2 days away?
No, I think you hit the point with that. I think the over for that game should be pretty safe bet. I don't think anybody wants to take any risk to getting hurt on that game. Obviously, it's at the same time it's kind of sometimes hard to actually just switch off and switch on in for the playoffs. So you don't want to get completely loose. But I think the game is gonna end like 4-5, 5-4. Something like that. I think it's going to be a tight game, but there's going to be some goals scored for sure. Because I also at the same time, Maple Leafs want to get Matthews 70. Tampa Bay wants to get Kucherov 100 apples. So it's those guys going to be hunting those milestones.
No doubt. I agree. So I'm on over 1.5 first period, around -140, -145 with that. And also full game over 6.5 here, -125. You could even turn it into an over trifecta and add on a little both teams to score in the first period as well, if you like. I might do that, but I definitely like the bifecta portion of that more with the over 1.5, over 6.5 here in this game. Someone gave Nicholas a compliment. I was trying to find it here. It was got to scroll up, but yeah, big fans there. Oh, there we go. There's the comment. Wanted to put a good common sense narrative when you were talking about Toronto as a better chance against Boston. The Finnish are known for. Appreciate it. The no need to create shit narratives. There you go. Are the Finnish known for just putting it right out there?
Yeah, I like to think that we have been known as pretty honest people and pretty straightforward. So someone likes that and someone doesn't like it. But I tend to like the way, just to be honest and just to say the things like they are.
And we love that here. Call like I see it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Alan Trimble, really good, one of our great viewers and listeners on the show in our chat, posted a bet for the props tonight in this game that I'm on. I think it's a great prop bet. I think we all should get on this, to be quite honest with you. Nikita Kucherov to get an assist tonight, to get to 100, is minus 215. Okay, you don't want to lay that price. Austin Matthews to score a goal to get to 70 goals tonight is minus 140, minus 150 or so in some books. You don't want to lay that price. Same game parlay, Nikita Kucherov assist, Austin Matthews goal, and you can get that at like plus 155. I think that's a tremendous bet tonight. I think that's a spectacular bet. I think that's a phenomenal situational bet. Kucherov needs one assist to get to 100. Matthews one goal to get to 70. You parlay those two things together, plus 155. I think it's terrific. I think it's right there with the overs as one of the best bets you could make here on this game tonight. Alex, what do you think here? Leafs, Lightning.
Great minds think alike, because I just did that about 5 minutes ago. I was looking at the prices, and I will be dabbling also with Austin Matthews' first goal scorer and Austin Matthews' last goal scorer, which is something I've been we're adding the last few games. But that was the main thing I was looking at. I'm like, I want something anytime with Austin Matthews, but I want to tie it to something. I don't really want to tie it with either side. And I like the first period over, but I didn't want to tie it to that either. So knowing that Kucherov needs that assist, that's a perfect parlay to have. So I am on that, and I'm also on the first period over. I grabbed 140 this morning. I'm seeing those mostly gone. Even FanDuel has a minus 150. So by all means, wait a couple minutes, try and grab a better price in game with that. And I'm also going with that first period, both teams to score. I grabbed plus 160 as well. So those two looks in the first period, along with the parlay for Matthews' goal, Kucherov assist, Austin Matthews' first goal, and Austin Matthews' last goal.
Right, there you go. And I like the giving a shot. Now, again, you want to keep these smaller bets, but it makes sense. First goal, last goal.
Yeah, all smaller.
He's going to be fed the puck quite a bit. And even the Austin Matthews shots on goal ladder that we have talked about, step by step, rung by rung, Huey Lewis in the news style, higher and higher. Austin Matthews, over 4.5 shots is like minus 140. You obviously take that. But then you go 5.5 shots on goal over, 6.5 shots. Nicholas, I had this Austin Matthews shots on goal ladder Saturday against Detroit, where I took over 4.5 shots, but then I added on over 5.5, over 6.5, and I think over 9.5 was like plus 1,200. Plus 1,200 on over 9.5 shots on goal. He had 10 shots on goal against Detroit on Saturday. All those ladders hit. All those rungs of the ladder on the Austin Matthews shots on goal hit, because he's shooting the puck a shit ton right now, trying to get to 70 goals. So that was the thinking behind it.
I got pretty much nothing to add. I think that's the way you make bets that's gonna actually hit too. Obviously he's chasing the 70 goals, so he's gonna be throwing the pucks tonight. I would like to think that there's gonna be probably like 4 or 5 shots in the first period from him. I think the guy's gonna try to set him up. He's gonna try to hammer it in. So it's I think the odds for tonight for him scoring a goal and let's say hitting like more than 6.5 shots, I think that's something what you should think about.
Yeah, exactly. You could just be creative in a game like this for sure, as far as betting player props, whether they're individual prop bets or putting them in a same game parlay. And of course, same game parlay now is huge. There's no doubt. But it's a good game to get creative. And when the playoffs start, we're going to be trying to, I at least am going to be trying same game parlays with every game in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So definitely looking forward to trying a lot of that out. Yeah, Braden Point, I think, what's he trying to get to as far as points milestones? Someone in the chat mentioned that. Yeah. He's trying to get to, I'm just bringing up his numbers. Yeah, he's at 89. So he's trying to get to 90 points. So you could also do you could add it, make it a 3-way same game parlay. Kucherov assist, Matthews goal, Braden point. There you go. To get to 90 points, he needs 1 point. So there you go. You could really make a nice little price with that. That probably makes the parlay something like, plus gets it to maybe 250 or 300 at least with that. So actually, I'm going to run that through the calculator right now. Is there anything you wanted to add, Alex, for Leafs Lightning?
That's it.
Nope, there we go. All right. Penguins and Islanders next up. Pittsburgh, minus 130, home favorites, 6 the total. Let's ask the resident hockey player here on the show, Nicholas, about this. So you put yourself in the shoes of a Penguin player. Okay, your season's over. You basically worked your ass off to get yourself back into the playoff race. You have your season end, and you don't even have anything to say about it. You got to watch it end because they didn't even play last night. They had to hope for help from Washington, and they didn't get, or from Philadelphia against Washington. They didn't get that help. And all of a sudden now their season's over. They're out of the playoffs. All this effort to put themselves in a position to make the playoffs, and all of a sudden they're out. What's the mentality as a player if you were on that team right now, Nicholas, taking the ice tonight? Now this game we're out of it. It no longer your seasons. We busted our ass basically to get back into the playoff race, and now we can't make the playoffs. Are you mentally in the frame of mind to show up tonight and play a strong hockey game and at least finish the season strong? Or are you just kind of devastated with now that you worked so hard to get back into the playoff race? You thought you had a chance to get in, and now you're not going to get in.
I think that's pretty tough situation to be in. Obviously, you play in NHL, you should have the pride to show up. Obviously, they're gonna try to play their best, but we all know we are all humans. We are all just people with the mental mindset of pretty much still like a normal people. So yeah, I think those guys are pretty empty, and I think that game is just a bad dead rubber game. Either of those teams have nothing to play for. Pittsburgh, it's even. I think Islanders still, because they might be a little empty too. They just clinched a spot. They just they finally got that tough stretch, and now they kind of have like a little rest before the playoff starts. But at the same time, they can't get too loose because you still want to keep on to that good run they have. But I think Pittsburgh is just. I don't know. It all comes to obviously like those leading guys like Crosby and those guys. So I think he's gonna help the situation a lot. But it's a tough game for them. I can see it's a mentally tough game to get into it. It's a tough game to find yourself to be in a position that you're gonna actually give 110 out of your system. Obviously, the last game of the season too, but you have played 81 games. It's a long season, so. I think that's I think they are pretty empty.
Empty. Okay. Well, if it's Islanders 4-1, 5-1 tonight, I will remember what you just said and say, well done for Nicholas Nevalainen with that call. Here's the way I came into this game thinking. There's no way I'm betting the Islanders here in this game. And I know that because, look, they've clinched everything. They emptied the gas tank. They did play great down the stretch, but now they've clinched the third in the Metro. They know they're playing Carolina in the first round, so there's none of this, we're trying to play a certain opponent. Nope, you're locked into playing Carolina. I would not want to back the Islanders in this spot. So my first thought was, can I make a case for Pittsburgh, even with the sadness and just the emotional toll of being knocked out of the playoffs? And I'm a little more reluctant now. I was going to bet Pittsburgh. I actually did bet Pittsburgh small. Nothing significant, but I did bet Pittsburgh small earlier. But I'm kind of worried about what you just said. And that, they got so close to making the playoffs and then just to have it ripped out from their hands. And watching those games last night play out and couldn't even do anything about it. That would worry me a little bit. Yeah, maybe the draw. Islanders are locked in. They don't care. Who knows mentally, emotionally what we're going to see out of Pittsburgh. Maybe the draw island is live here in this game tonight with the Penguins and the Islanders. And that, by the way, Nicholas, we've called them the New York Islanders this year, the Thailanders, because they've gone to overtime and a shootout so much, and we have cashed so many draw bets with the Islanders. I wouldn't hate a look toward that, but this is a dicey game. And even with the over, which I lean Pittsburgh in the over. I did sprinkle on both of those, Pittsburgh minus 130 and over 6. But even with those two bets, like, I don't know what Pittsburgh is going to show up. And on the other thing, and with the total, this could be Pittsburgh is emotionally down, and the Islanders just have nothing to play for because they're locked into the playoffs already Saturday against Carolina. So this could be, a 2-1, 3-1 if neither team's really going to muster up the energy offensively that they need to go over the total. So this is a little bit of a dicey game all around. I did put a little Pittsburgh bet, a little over 6, and maybe I add the draw, but I can't say I'm overly confident with anything there in that regard. Alex, what about you here for this one? Penguins Islanders.
If I tune into this game for a little bit, I might try and look for something live. But I'm not betting anything pregame, like you said. This is a game where we might just see these two teams just go out there and just have a cardio exercise for 60 minutes. And there's not much energy going on between the two of them. So it's a hard game to read. Like I said, seeing the Delkovic starting again, I think is really interesting. The fact that he's played so much down the stretch, and you got this guy that you've given $25 to $26 million to over the last 5 years, and Tristan Jarry is still sitting there on the bench, even when the final game of the year. So I think that's
really something. That Tristan Jarry's not getting this start after all this. Now that you're officially out, wow.
Yeah, so that's something to maybe watch out for potentially in the summertime. But other than that, it's mostly going to be a pass, and I might try and look for something live.
All right, what do you think, Nicholas, about this one? Go ahead.
Well, that's what I was just gonna add. That I think that game is something I don't wanna touch even with the 2-meter stick. So I'm just staying out of that game. There's nothing I can see. Like you said, it's even you kind of wanna hope that maybe they score over 6 goals, but at the same time, in my eyes, it can be 2-2, just 3-1, just that boring game with nothing to play for and no tunes in the game. So I would just stay out of that game.
There you go. And like I say, that's to me, this is a little bit of the dicey one compared to some of the other games, and we'll get to one in a moment that I like certainly later on in the show. But milestone wise, I mean, you look at where these two teams are, and it looks like for the most part, believe it or not, Patrick Waugh is going with Ilya Sorokin, as Alex mentioned, Alex Nedeljkovic. And really, there's 2 main absences, 3 for the Islanders. Engvall's out. Matthew Barzal is going to get rested. And the poor man's Sebastian Aho is going to get rested for the New York Islanders here tonight. And they're meeting each other again in the playoffs. Again, the Islanders and the Hurricanes. It's a battle of the Sebastian Ahos one more time. No one's talking about that.
Well, especially when you say that Barzal is out too, I would just keep my hands out of that game. It's you might be right. Maybe they ran up to score 6-7, just open house. But the way I see it, I think it's gonna be just something that you get nothing to win for.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's going to be very interesting to see how this one plays out. I'm just looking right now. Malkin needs 1 assist for 40. That's a bit of a stretch that he's really all that caring about getting to 40 assists. It would have to be like a 50 or 100, like a big milestone, a real milestone number, I think, to get truly excited about that. But yeah, as far as in terms of current form, Crosby and what Alan said with Crosby, Rust, Bunting, Drew O'Connor, even though he didn't come through last game, he's been very good, especially when he's gotten this increased ice time. He's gotten a chance to play with Crosby quite a bit of late. That line's been good. O'Connor, Crosby, Rust, Bunting, player props involving those guys does make sense here for the Penguins. I'll throw out a couple for the Islanders here. Casey Cizikas and Oliver Wahlstrom tonight are going to be on the top line with Bo Horvat for the New York Islanders. And this is another angle of ours. Players moving up the lineup, going to the top line. They're undervalued. Their props are still, huge prices. Now they're playing with Bo Horvat on the top line. So Cizikas and Oliver Wahlstrom, they might be worth a look. Simon Holmstrom's up to the second line with Nelson and Palmieri, who have been 2 of the hotter Islanders forwards down the stretch offensively. So there might be some value with Simon Holmstrom as well. As far as props tonight in this game. So this might be a game I dabble on some of those props I mentioned, but you're right. Side and total, it's a little bit tricky. All right, St. Louis and Dallas next up. We've got the Dallas Stars minus 250, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. Dallas, of course, locked up their division earlier, the Central Division, with that win against Seattle over the weekend. But there is still something they can accomplish here with 1 point, and that's all they need, 1 point. The Dallas Stars can clinch the number 1 overall seed in the Western Conference. So that's on the line for them here. And all they need is to get this game to overtime or a shootout. No rest for Jake Ottinger, by the way. Jake Ottinger is your starting goaltender tonight for the Dallas Stars, which, look, they still need to get the point for the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. So I can see why Ottinger's in net. And then, of course, it's Jordan Binnington for St. Louis. Looks like no Justin Falk, no Torrey Krug, no Jake Neighbors still for St. Louis. And Tyler Seguin is out tonight for the Dallas Stars. But other than that, looks like a fully healthy lineup here for the Dallas Stars in this game. We'll see how it plays out. This one's a little dicey for me as far as side and total. I mean, Dallas, with them needing a point, I'm not bullish about taking St. Louis in any form. We could lean to the Stars team total over 3.5, but even I don't love that. There are some props I like, and Raymond has named one of them. Jason Robertson needs 1 goal for 30. Why not? Plus 164. 30 is not a huge milestone number like a 40 or 50 or 100, but still, to get to 30 goals, it's something you want to accomplish. You can say, hey, I'm a 30-goal scorer again. So Jason Robertson for Dallas. Goal prop, yeah, makes sense to me to look in that direction. So I lean a little bit to the Stars team total over, but what I'm going to take here is the draw. I like the draw. I think the draw is live. Dallas only needs a point, out of this game. They get this game to overtime or a shootout. They clinch the first seed in the Western Conference. And if you're St. Louis, the one thing I'll say about the Blues coming into this game tonight, guys, is that they have not totally rolled over. When you see the way they've played here down the stretch, Anaheim, well, they beat Chicago 5-2 after getting eliminated. They lost to Carolina 5-2, but that was a 1-goal game. It was 3-2 Carolina. St. Louis put up a good battle against Carolina on Friday night. And then they beat Seattle 4-1. Actually, my apologies. That Seattle game was the first game they played after getting officially knocked out of the playoffs. And they beat Seattle 4-1. So they didn't roll over. I think they could maybe give Dallas a bit of a battle. And look, Dallas did not look impressive even beating Seattle to clinch the division. I mean, that was a lackluster start. It took them a while to get going in that game. So I think this game could sneak its way into overtime tonight. So that's what I like the most of anything here in this game, is taking a shot with the draw between the Blues and the Stars. And again, you can get a very good price once again on that. I'm looking right now at FanDuel, which has some of the best draw prices, plus 400 at FanDuel for the draw. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on that, plus 400 the draw here, St. Louis, Dallas. Alex, what do you think here, Blues Stars?
Yeah, people mentioned in the chat, the Blues having a few days off before this game and then wrapping up the season. That kind of scares me off of looking at anything St. Louis side. So even the draw, that kind of worries me a little bit. I can see Dallas maybe jumping out early and just blowing the doors off of St. Louis, like I said, knowing that they just need the 1 point to get the home ice throughout the Western Conference portion of the playoffs. So this is going to be a pass for me. I understand taking the draw, especially at a plus 400 price. It's arguably probably the last 400 we're going to see moving forward, because we certainly won't be getting that high of a price once the playoffs roll around. But it's just a little tough to gauge where St. Louis's head will be at in this contest.
No, that's a fair point. Like, this is not a draw that I love. Like, I love the draw with Montreal-Detroit, obviously, last night. Really love that draw. This one, I'm taking a shot. It's more of a I'm taking a shot type of draw bet here for me, plus 400. But I do think, because Dallas only needs a point. Look, if somehow this game's tied late in the third period, Dallas is not going to do anything to screw up the point. They're going to make sure they get the game to overtime. The question is, does St. Louis give a crap? Does St. Louis give a damn tonight? I guess we'll find that out early. Nicholas, what do you think here, Blue Stars?
I don't actually mind Dallas in this game. I actually kind of like it. Like you said, they need a 1 point to clinch the whole conference. I think it's quite a big deal. I think they want that. I think they want to keep themselves with the good momentum going into the playoffs. Like Alex said, St. Louis 2 days off before the last game, away game in Dallas. It's to be fair, that kind of gives you a little something to think about for sure. For me, I'm probably gonna go tonight with a little parlay. So I gonna have take three of those games. Gonna have Tampa Bay, Toronto over 6.5 goals. Have Dallas to win or draw the game, and then I gonna have one more in the Arizona Edmonton game, but we can talk about that in a few minutes from now. So I like that. I like to think Dallas is gonna win the game, but I would just with the win or draw. So
Well, that makes sense, especially in a parlay that you take win or draw, which is actually a type of bet that it's a lot more common over in Europe, definitely with European-based sports books. So yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense if you like Dallas win or draw, because that's what they want, win or draw, because 1 point clinches first in the Central Division for them in this game tonight. All right, final game of this Wednesday card. Here it is, Edmonton, Arizona. We've got the Oilers minus 170, road favorites. The total in this game currently sitting at 6.5, shaded to the over in this game. We talked about this spot last night during the betcast. I love this spot for Arizona coming into this game tonight. You look at Edmonton, they're locked into their positioning right now, second in the Pacific. They're going on the road for a meaningless game 82. And then you contrast that with Arizona and what they're playing for tonight. And yes, obviously they're out of it long ago with the playoffs, but this is the final game for the Arizona Coyotes franchise in Arizona before they move to Salt Lake City, Utah. Final home game in front of the fans. And I know we mock how big the fan base is and that arena, that little bandbox there, Mullet Arena. But you've got to think, for the Arizona Coyote players, this is like Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final type of focus tonight from them in this game against Edmonton. So now the one thing I'm waiting on is what is Edmonton and what is Chris Knobloch doing with his lineup tonight. And we haven't heard a thing yet because this is a later game and the information's not out yet. We haven't heard the coach speak yet today, Chris Knobloch. My thinking was, you might as well, because McDavid got his 100 assists in that 9-2 beatdown over San Jose. He got his 100 assists. You might as well rest McDavid maybe, or a Draisaitl or Hyman. But we haven't heard anything as of yet, what Edmonton's doing with their lineup. I want to make it known. I like Arizona regardless of who plays tonight for Edmonton. But I like it even more if, let's say, a McDavid sits, or a Draisaitl sits, or Hyman, or, like half the team like Carolina did last night against Columbus. I would like Arizona even more, but I still like them anyway, Arizona, even not knowing exactly what the lineup is going to be for Edmonton tonight. So give me Arizona first period money line, Arizona full game money line. The same two bets I had with Columbus in a very similar situation last night. So live dog, let me go. Oh, oh, oh. There we go. The Arizona Coyotes. Come on, boys. Final game in this state with this team before the relocation. Get the job done. I think they've got a great chance to do that for sure. Alex, what do you think here, Edmonton, Arizona?
Well, one thing, it better be fucking sold out. I mean, I know they're planning a tailgate in the parking lot and doing all this stuff. It should be packed. And this is going to be an electric atmosphere. We've seen these before in the 90s with Hartford, with Quebec, and we've seen teams, Winnipeg, some really emotional scenes when these final games. Hartford was the one that stuck out the most.
I think most of those teams won those final games at home before they relocated. Yeah,
Hartford won their regular season finale, but with Quebec and the Jets, they were in the playoffs and ended up losing those series. Jets were eliminated by the Red Wings in 96, and Quebec was eliminated by the Rangers in 94 before their move. But Hartford is a team that I remember. They actually have the tape of that somewhere of where they won their final game. So it should be just an electric atmosphere. Give me the Yotes, like I said, first period Yotes full game money line, and I do have a player prop that I'll be talking about a little bit later in the this spot as well.
All right, bargain bin special of the night. Looks like a tease for that segment for Alex from this game. Apparently, I'm just seeing RotoWire. Someone told me in RotoWire, looks like the lineup has been confirmed. Calvin Pickard in net for Edmonton. That does not shock me. I did not expect to see Skinner for Edmonton tonight. But what's a little more surprising is there's only a couple guys resting tonight or out. Ceci and Nurse on the blue line, and Evander Kane as well. That's it. So pretty much everyone else is playing here tonight for the Edmonton Oilers in this game. But it doesn't shake me from this. I think it's a great situational bet here with Arizona. It's just this game means a lot more to them than it does to the Edmonton Oilers. So,
and one big thing too is we've been seeing Connor Ingram and Karel Vejmelka alternating back and forth down the stretch.
Yeah,
Turney's going with Ingram again tonight for the second straight start. So that tells you he's really trying to win this.
There you go. It is Ingram. I didn't see confirmation yet. So
I just saw a confirmation a couple minutes ago from this was on Twitter.
All right, very good. So it is Connor Ingram, and I would rather have Connor Ingram, absolutely, in net for the Arizona Coyotes. Nicholas, what do you think here? Oilers, Coyotes.
Well, I don't hate the bet you have for Arizona, but I don't really love it that much. To be fair, I'm scared of those two monsters that played for the Oilers, especially now that if the lineup was confirmed that McDavid and Draisaitl are all playing. I think it's just with those two guys. They want, even that they are kind of down in the game, they can just turn up the game and just put up like 3 points each, and they're gonna end up losing. What I actually like most in this game, what I gonna finish my parlay with, it's Arizona over 2.5 goals, because I think
I like it.
Yeah, I just think that Oilers defense is, especially now that Ceci and Nursey are out. I don't like their defense either way. Even they would be playing, I think it's gonna be kind of loose mentality, and at the same time, Arizona is gonna go full power. So I think they're gonna hit that, but I'm just not sure that they're gonna able to prevent Edmonton to score also 3, 4, 5 goals. That's my 2 cents for that. That's why I don't like Arizona to win the game that much. Which I could ride with that, but I just I will take that as a safer bet as a last set of my parlay. So
I love it, Nicholas, because I've said this all the time, man, on this show. Sometimes you're worried about the team defensively, in this case, Arizona, against, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman, and it looks like they're all playing. And the way you can bet a team and not have to worry about them defensively is bet the team total. Just bet and that's what you're doing. In the third leg of your parlay, you mentioned it. You're on Arizona team total over 2.5. And it's a good way to look at it, where you just need Arizona to get 3 goals for you. It doesn't matter who wins the game at all. They could give up 4. You couldn't give a shit if they give up 4 goals, Arizona. As long as they score 3, which I think they can absolutely do that tonight and will do that tonight, you're good.
Yeah, I think that's the safe way to go, because I think they can win the game 3-1. Other side of my brain is saying that they might also just give up 5 goals too. So it's just you never know how that's going to turn out.
Yeah, no doubt. There's a lot of props I like too. We'll end it on this for this game. As far as Arizona, we'll start. By the way, I like the over by Fecta as well, but I like the Arizona bets more. Basically, I've got Arizona full first period money line, full game money line. I'm going to take the team total over 2.5, even lay a little juice on that, and also the over by Fecta here in this game as well. And then player props for this game with the Coyotes and the Oilers. I think there's a lot of good player props to consider here in this game tonight. For Arizona, I'm going to go back to the usual suspects: Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther, Josh Doan. I think they're all very live to score a goal tonight. If you can find any points props on them, I think it's absolutely worth a look as well. So anything like that, definitely worth a look. Doan, Guenther, Cooley. And when you look at the lineup configurations as well tonight for Arizona, They're going to get more ice time, it looks like. Cooley and Gunther are on the second line. Doan's on the third line. Kerfoot even has been good again in the last couple of games on the top line center spot. Keller, like, I'm not a big Clayton Keller prop guy because he's always priced. It's not, the prices aren't as good for Clayton Keller. But tonight, look, he's been there forever. He is going to want to have a big game tonight for the Arizona Coyotes, Clayton Keller. So this is definitely the night where I would look at Clayton Keller props. And then for Edmonton, we talked about this against San Jose. Adam Henrique on the top line and Warren Foegele on the second line. There's good value for both of them. They're up the lineup. They both scored goals against San Jose, and there's definitely value with those two players now on the top two lines for Edmonton, because you look at the prices once again. Adam Henrique playing with McDavid on the top line, and then you've got Warren Foegele playing with Draisaitl on the second line, and they are just not priced properly. Like Adam Henrique to score a goal tonight is still plus 300. Warren Foegele to score a goal tonight for Edmonton plus 310. And these are guys that are on the top six forward group, the top two lines. So definitely good value there as far as those two players once again. Great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Great show once again. A reminder, patreon.com/iceguys, $10 per month. Make sure you sign up on the page. Our daily sides, totals, and player props posted there every day, as well as access to our exclusive live betcasts. And by the way, here's the schedule for the rest of the month. Well, we can knock off Tuesday, April 16th now. That's over with, but 3 more betcasts coming up here in the month of April with the playoffs starting next week. Monday, April 22nd, Thursday, April 25th, Tuesday, April 30th. 3 more live betcasts coming up, all of them during the Stanley Cup playoffs. And your way to access the Patreon exclusive betcasts is signing up for just $10 a month. Patreon.com/iceguys. And make sure you check out the Ice Guys store as well. Get your gear and your merch at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Yeah, you got everything that is fully in stock right now at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All the hats, the hoodies, the t-shirts, everything you can think of. Grab that right now over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, great stuff. We'll be right back with Bargain Bin Special of the Night and Best Bets to wrap up the show in just a moment, right after we hear from our great sponsors, Boston Hemp Inc. All right, Boston Hemp Inc. Make sure you check them out. Get 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like in the bargain bin tonight?
Yeah, heading out to the desert for the last time, and we're going to go with someone who has literally had their entire life based there. Obviously, son of a legend of the Coyotes, played at Arizona State University. Josh Doan. Plus 400 anytime goal scorer. I think he's going to be one of the guys to really chip in this final game in Arizona history. And that's a good price for it. Plus 400. We're rolling with that. Josh Doan, anytime goal plus 400. It's my bargain bin special tonight.
All right, Josh Doan, Arizona Coyotes, plus 400 with a bargain bin special tonight. Nicholas, what this is, by the way, bargain bin special. I should have explained this, but it's a prop, your favorite prop that is plus 300 odds or better. So if you have one, you can let us know what it is, and if not, that's okay.
Well, I don't really have one. To be fair, it's sometimes those odds for you guys are obviously are different than the odds we use here. So those are little off the limits for me sometimes. So, but I would actually like to just throw my 2 cents in though, and just ask what's for Arizona Matias Maselli over 1.5 assists tonight.
Okay, well, I love that you still gave us something there, and I think that probably is going to be bargain bin worthy. Let me check. Player assists, Mattias Macelli. I got to say it with the Italian accent because he's got the Italian last name, Mattias Macelli, for the Arizona Coyotes. Wow. We'll lock this in for Nicholas Nevalainen.
Yeah.
Bargain bin special of the night. Mattias Macelli, Arizona Coyotes, over 1.5 assists plus 700 is the price for that.
I like that.
All right, there we go. Macelli over 1.5 assists plus 700 at Bet365 for Nicholas Nevalainen with his bargain bin special of the night. My bargain bin special for this card, when I look at it, there's some good options overall. I think I am going to go to that same game as well with the Oilers and the Coyotes. I'm going to go with Clayton Keller to get 2 goals tonight for the Arizona Coyotes. I like that one. I think tonight's the night where really he stands out because he's been there forever. He is going to want to play a heck of a hockey game tonight, and you can get him at plus 900 to score 2 goals tonight for the Arizona Coyotes. So over 1.5 goals, Clayton Keller, Arizona Coyotes, plus 900 for my bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Well, we just keep this whole Yolks theme rolling. We go with Arizona plus 150 on the money line. Like I said, this is it. This is the finale, and they've got to show up big, and we do believe that's going to happen here. And getting a good plus price to go along with it. Give me the Arizona Coyotes one last time, plus 150. My best bet.
All right, there we go. Arizona Coyotes plus 150. Best bet for Alex B. Smith in this one. Nicholas Nevalainen, a heck of a great job. Awesome to have you back here on the show, and we'll have to get you back on again for sure. What are you going with, Nicholas, tonight for your best bet?
Well, obviously, thanks for having me again. It's been fun time again, and for sure we'll be back in the future. I would just I like Tampa Bay and Maple Leafs over 6.5. I think that's gonna be just that's gonna be. I think that might be even 7.5 might be on the limits today. Let's go with 7.5.
Wow, I like it. Oh, that's an alternative total, by the way. Over 7.5 for the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's going one step further. Fuck this over 6.5, over 7.5 with the alternative team total. You know what I like about Nicholas's betting style? He's going for the plus money value. He's going for a little extra bang for the buck here with some of these. So over 7.5. Shop around, but I know that at let me see, Bet365 right now, over 7.5 is plus 175. So that's the price with that. So over 7.5 Leafs Lightning alternative total for Nicholas Nevalainen with his best bet. My best bet for this card, look, I'm going to stick with it. Arizona, same as Alex here. Plus 150. I committed to it last night on the BetCast. I thought it was the best bet on the board then. I still do now, even though Edmonton's going to ice a pretty full roster for the most part, especially up front. I still think this game emotionally means everything to Arizona. Their final game in the desert state before they relocate to Salt Lake City. So Arizona plus 150 against Edmonton for my best bet for this Tuesday NHL card. That'll wrap up this edition of the show. Again, great show. We thank Nicholas Nevalainen, our guest, for joining us. Everyone in the chat, hit the like button. On the way out, we appreciate it very much. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, for Nicholas Nevalainen, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back with you tomorrow on Thursday for another edition of the Ice Guys.